All right, so let's look at the new local governments as they take shape. Power plays across the country, with several municipalities holding their inaugural council meetings, with new councillors being sworn in. Some went as predicted, but there were a few surprises as new coalitions were born. Our reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones is following the Johannesburg sitting, which is still underway, and senior reporter Aviwe Mtila has been in Vereeniging for the Emfuleni sitting. So, Pule, I'm going to start with you talking about Johannesburg. We do not as yet have a new mayor, do we? And do we know who it's going to be at this point?
Well, good afternoon, Sally, and what it is right now, I'm just going to ask my colleague to pan on my right on the side is of course, nomination has passed now, and now they're voting for the speaker. Two names that have now come in is, of course, Eunice Twin representing the ANC, who has received the backing of the likes of the PA and, of course, COPE. And then there's also Vasco da Gama as well, quite familiar to the council processes here, not a new name, representing the DA, and it will be quite interesting to see who will be taking this one. The process, though, is moving at a snail pace, and that's why there was an objection earlier by Action SA leader Herman Mashaba to say this process needs to be fast-tracked and to try and avoid some of the disruptions that have been taking place, obviously in link to the caucus meetings that have been continuously taking place by parties, particularly receiving, whatever last-minute instruction it is from their national subordinates. It's quite intriguing to see what has unfolded in Ekurhuleni with the speaker that has been put in there, and their backers as well, involving the likes of the EFF and the DA. And what's also at play here is last-minute decisions that have been taking place here in terms of those votes and numbers coming in, Sally.
So over the weekend, of course, we heard that Herman Mashaba's hopes of becoming Joburg mayor again were pretty much dashed. The DA Action SA discussions did not bear fruit. But who is going to be the new mayor of Joburg?
Well, Sally, it's quite interesting what we are seeing here. This is a numbers game. Sober minds are required. And in order for that to happen, the talks need to be quite smooth. You remember that on Sunday, Helen Ziller actually saying on Facebook that she had an interaction with the Freedom Front Plus council, of course, or member, Dr. Corner Mulder, in terms of the transcript where Herman Mashaba allegedly said where he is a stumbling block, he would withdraw in terms of his name having to be endorsed as a mayoral candidate that will be supported by the opposition parties such as ACDP, Freedom Front Plus, Action SA as well, and the DA. So those disagreements haven't been quite fruitful. In fact, we've seen the likes of UDM leader Bantu Holomisa coming up publicly and also telling us that, the style in which the DA is using to actually come through to talks about coalition agreements isn't favorable, because we do know the DA said in principle where they are majority they will field their mayoral candidates, just like in Johannesburg where they are fielding Dr. Mpopalate. The Action SA is fielding Herman Mashaba, and of course there's Mpwemerana, as decided by the NEC of the ANC that he will be representing the party. It's quite interesting to see how this will unfold. We do know that the DA as well has lost the Nelson Mandela Bay. It's very risky for them right now, particularly because they'll be looking at trying to save the city of Tshwane into tomorrow, and of course Johannesburg as well. So what is very important here are those coalition agreements and those last critical key decisions that will be taken.
All right, so it's really all coming down to the wire. I'll come back to you in just a moment on Johannesburg. But let's now speak to Aviwe Mtila, who, of course, has been monitoring Emfuleni today. We know that Emfuleni is a plagued municipality. It's had terrible money and corruption problems, sewage problems. What is the latest in terms of the council? Is it done and dusted?
Done and dusted, Sally, but it's never really been this tightly contested. I'm at Emfuleni local municipality, one of the worst performing municipalities across the country. Back in 2018, they were placed under administration because of their ailing service delivery that's become synonymous with rivers of sewage flowing through the roads. I mean, before the elections, we gave you the mother of all potholes coming from this local municipality. But today, there was a lot of horse trading happening behind closed closed door that saw the election of a new mayor, Sipho Radebe, coming from the ANC, but very tightly contested. You'd even know in the local government elections, they didn't get their 50% majority that they're normally used to. It's an ANC stronghold previously. 26 local government elections, they had a 56% majority. 2006, they had a 76% majority, but in these recent government elections, they only had a mere 39.71% majority. So it was very tightly contested, even though they received the speaker seat as well as the chief whip seat, but with very close margins, Sally. But there was an issue that arose when the speaker was elected, an issue around one of the councillors that didn't fill in the registration attendance, but went on to vote. An issue that the opposition, especially the Freedom Front Plus, touched on. Let's take a listen to their councillor there, Councillor Senekal.
Understanding is, firstly, it's an illegal vote that took place. So it's a fault from the IEC side and from the administration side from the Emfuleni Council. So to start afresh, rectify the problem, go down the attendance register as per every councillor that signed it, call them out and come out to vote. Then you will know each councillor that signed have an eligible vote. So it's a fault from the IEC as well as the administration from Emfuleni Council side that we are sitting with this dilemma now.
And
but of course, Aviwe, as you're explaining, it's now done and dusted, and there is a mayor in Emfuleni. It's an ANC mayor. I'm going to give the last moment to you, Pule Letshwiti-Jones, in Johannesburg. Are we going to find out who the new mayor of Johannesburg is by the end of this evening? Was it likely to only happen tomorrow?
Well, you know what, Sally, there are tired minds right here, and what I can tell you is that throats are open. Councillors are having that last, quench of thirst by having coffee and water as well, because they're quite, sure that this process is a very slow process that's taking place right now. Around 270 councillors still have to vote for a speaker. We do understand that the program was meant to extend. It's a 2-day program from today until tomorrow, but, councillors are quite pushy and very impatient at this moment, saying that, time has to be spared, and they're saying that there cannot be any, more disruptions that are taking place in terms of, disqualifying this program as well to having to happen until tomorrow. They wanted to actually finish today, and those are one of the objections which were brought by Action SA. So as it is right now, we are, quite keen on being here until we see how this process will unfold, and there will be, further developments coming out from this council sitting. For now, we do understand that the speaker nomination is, of course, underway, and the speaker will be voted for. Then, of course, it will be the part of the mayor and then the chief whip. So it will be a very long evening here, Sally, today.